We want to make SokukoJi's teachings available to all who would benefit from hearing the Dharma from his perspective. You may relate to this if you are returning to these talks time and again and find value in them. Consider supporting us financially and participating with questions during Dharma talks and at book studies. Thank you. So thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for spending some of your Friday night with us, looking at this mind of ours, looking at what we call the Dharma. We very much appreciate your time and your questions, your encouragement to look deeper at what this is, to help each one of us actually see beyond our preconceptions, maybe even see that this all is an illusion. So tonight I wanted to use the subject guilt. And that, for me, goes in line with the subtle movements of the mind. Like the last couple talks I gave were on passive-aggressive behavior. This guilt is more of an emotion. It might have some behavior components, but the whole intent here is to look at our involvement in what we perceive as a separate, solid individual. And maybe some of us are already quite able to see what I would call gross emotions, or obvious thoughts, or blatant opinions and beliefs. So I'm interested in looking at the more subtle ways we deceive ourselves. We somehow maybe ignore what is actually going on because these are habits. It might be a habit of mind, it might be a habit of behavior. But for us and this place, our teacher is bringing us over and over and over again to the foot of awareness. It's not about changing. It's not about fixing. It's about seeing. It's not about understanding. It is about seeing. It's about awareness. And so when we talk about guilt, for me, I'm bringing that up because that's one of the things that I've been noticing more lately. It's always been there. It's a habit of mind for me, where something will come up, and it's not infrequently my teacher saying something, like pointing out a phrase filler that I'm using. My immediate reaction is a sense of guilt, and my behavior that I want to do is deny it or look away from it. And a couple hours ago, not even, he encouraged me to say thank you, to acknowledge it, to see it, not to change it, not to stop that habitual reaction, to explain it away, and that desire to stop it. I don't want phrase fillers. I don't want any uhs. And why is that? Another more subtle thought, behavior, emotion, pride. I want to do this right. I want to see what this is. Ego, 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 until it's not. And that is something that is so hard for us to really grasp. I know it is for me. that it is okay to be genuine. It is okay to feel, to think, to believe whatever shows up. What we're encouraged to do is see it, to be aware of it, including the desire to fix it, the desire to be someone else, the desire not to catch yourself turning away. It can be something so subtle as being in a room with Sangha members and at the cushion and catching myself move. What's wrong with that? Why should I feel guilty about that? But my immediate reaction is one of guilt. Caught. I caught myself. And my immediate response to that is wanting to look away. So what is it that you do that is so subtle, such a minor movement that reinforces there can be someone wrong? There can be someone that is not perfect. There can be someone who is full of themselves and acts out of that, or thoughts come up out of it. So I know it's possible to give the same Dharma talk over and over again. So right now I'm challenging myself to think of what I could do or say differently about these subtle movements of the mind. For one, I don't want to reinforce solidification of a sense of self. And I've asked this multiple times of Sokuzan, if we are pushing, pulling, and shutting down, pushing away, grabbing a hold of, are we reinforcing our ego? And he says yes. Maybe not always. If we are aware of it, we might not be completely reinforcing our ego. But what are his next words? It's not about stopping it. It's about seeing it. And how do we see it? We have teacher, teaching, Sangha members, community members that can remind us over and over again, if we're paying attention, of what we need to look at. But the number one way to do this is to strengthen awareness, to encourage one another through these talks, through our own actions of getting to the cushion and making it possible for others to get to the cushion. And when we're on that cushion, to watch what moves and watch our reaction to what moves. And watch that sense of I. Watch that watcher. And consider that all this is an illusion. Whatever is showing up on the cushion, whatever is showing up in our lives, whatever is happening right now, all illusion. The only way we can know this is through our mind. And it is our past, our cultural conditioning, our memories that is what we see. So what comes up is a name or a label or an immediate reaction, all that is empty of what it actually is. The only way we can actually see, actually be aware, is to go to that cushion. And what is that doing, actually? I mean, I've asked that multiple times of Sokuzan. It's strengthening awareness. But in so many ways, it seems like it's just opening us up to the possibility that we can see that this is an illusion, that we can see that whatever we're looking at is not separate. We can see that whatever is in front of us is consciousness only. Only we can do this because that's all there is. This is all there is for me. Only I can affect the world because that's all there is. Only you can affect your world, the only world that you know. So going back to subtle movements of the mind, let's together look at this in a way that is helpful to each other, in a way that might help us see the illusion, see the strengthening of a separate self, or encourage each of us to meditate so that we can get in the way of our own beliefs, thoughts, feelings. Are there any questions? Chokodawa.
Chokodawa, when you use the word guilt, is that to you, is that the same as shame, or are those a little different for you?
They are slightly different, but I see the same reaction. So for you, how would you differentiate guilt and shame?
I don't know how to think about it.
It's interesting that I would choose the word guilt when I have used shame so often. And right now I can't differentiate. Sokuzan.
Two concepts that you use there. There's another concept, pride. Is there any one of those three that cannot be experienced in such a way that we do not recognize it as the concept that points to it?
I think we are doing that all the time. I'm proud right now, and I'm not all that aware of it.
But that's what I'm asking about is you have shame, you have guilt, and you have pride, which are the same thing, but they show up in different ways. When pride is showing up, is it possible to see that there's pride? In the same way that you can see that you're ashamed, but you feel guilty? And how, if so, what is the differentiation between those three and the way they protect, advance, or secure, or nurture that part of the consciousness we refer to as ego?
So for right now, what is coming up for me is that I can feel pride for being here and also shame for not actually knowing what I'm talking about, not feeling confident, or worry maybe of not getting it right. All of those refer to I. All of those presume and strengthen that there's a solid sense of self here.
What do you recommend we do about that?
The only thing that I've been able to glean from your teaching is to get to that wall and watch what moves. And I know you don't use this word, but trust that that exercise will help me, or not even help me so much as create an openness, a space that maybe I can see beyond that solid sense of self. And when I say see beyond, see that I am not separate. See that I am consciousness only, and that the wall is consciousness only, and that there's no separation between the two.
How's it going?
Abject failure.
So is that a conclusion?
Yes. Thank you for pointing that out.
So if you were to see consciousness only, wouldn't that be a conclusion?
If there was still a self left, if there was not a self left, I would say no.
So what is it we're looking for? Any of us?
Always looking for something else.
Right.
Not
Do you have to stop looking for something else?
not until you stop looking for something else, but just be aware of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shoshi.
Is there any help or is it useful to compare concepts like this, like the one we're discussing? For instance, like, is guilt comparable to blame?
It may be helpful to you, to some people. It just depends on where you are in the path and how your body, mind, spirit works. That may or may not be helpful. Both are completely illusory. Both can be very much supporting an I. But Sokuzan will say that, any emotion can arise, but it's not about the content so much as it is about seeing what moves, feeling it completely, and seeing how you respond to it. So going back to your question, say your question again, please.
Is there any difference between guilt and blame?
Yes, there's a difference to me between guilt and blame. Blame is supposing someone else is at fault. Guilt is supposing that I am at fault. I suppose I can blame myself. But blame kind of carries a judgment, and guilt, I guess, has a judgment, but not as strong, maybe. Do you see a difference?
When we're blaming ourselves, where does it land? Where does it land? What part of ourselves are we blaming, or who is it actually that we're blaming?
When we blame ourselves, it is definitely ego involved. When blame itself arises without a sense of self, then it is just that. It is just consciousness manifesting as blame. More.
How is it that we give it a face, or we personify it, or we make it our own? Does that function?
It's a belief in a solid, separate sense of self, an ego that wants to be right. So with blame, we may blame someone else, but the teachings are to take responsibility. Look here. So you may catch yourself blaming someone. You don't need to act out of that, but if you do act out of that, just awareness, awareness, awareness. Aware of the act, aware of the thought, aware of the feeling. That would be the teaching. But it is arising out of someone who thinks someone else is wrong. Something out there is wrong, usually. But like we said, it could go this way too. But then it's still a separate self. Am I getting to what you're?
Yeah.
Okay.
One other question, you mentioned earlier, something to the degree of affecting change. What did you mean by that? What would that look like to you to affect change?
Can you remind me how I used it? Because those are
It's not. I can't
Choke it
quote
down.
you, but
I had the same question.
you did,
Yeah, you said,
or have an effect.
only you can
oh
affect your world.
mhm.
Hmm.
Is
I
that
think I reinterpreted that as affecting change, just as a generalization, but
Tread lightly.
thank you.
There's a bug right next to
I
you.
know there's fly came in maybe with the new dirt today. So when I said only we can make change, we're the only ones that are aware of our world. That was the point I was trying to make. Listening to the words come back to me.
Did you say only we can affect change? Was that a word she used?
No, affect
have an effect on our world.
mhm.
Okay, does that mean change?
I think the idea of affecting something promotes the idea of change in my mind.
Is it change?
Causally, yes.
How about ultimately?
No,
You sure?
yes.
I'm a failure.
Did I answer wrong?
No, no, you didn't answer. Didn't answer me. Well, yeah, you answered.
Answering it all.
Smiling lion. Sober lion. Go ahead, lion.
Chokadawa, did you want to ask that question or not? No.
Sure, Chokodabine. That one caught me as well, just the way you phrased it. I felt like you meant something else, but I heard it as only I can affect my world. It was just kind of how you were saying it about you. And it brought up questions about identity and all of that, but maybe you could go into it further.
So obviously it's consciousness that is doing anything.
May I interject?
Yes.
You could also say it's only you that can just stop affecting your world.
Either way.
Just stop affecting it. Stop don't do anything with it. Don't accept it. Don't reject it. Don't ignore it. Don't. Sorry to interfere with your wonderful display of knowledge.
And then consciousness may or may not help us be aware.
That it sounds like a kind of a questioning tone
Mhm.
of voice there.
Yeah, I'm wondering and
You have a question for me,
yeah.
teacher?
Yeah.
I'm going to give up because I am way in a circle right here.
Don't have to, you don't have to be out of the circle. Just continue. You're doing fine. You're doing fine. Go ahead.
Jushine's been having her hands up. Is that okay?
I'm wondering whether you already responded to that question with Sokuzan's questions before, but I will ask it anyway. You said something, what can I do differently not to solidify the ego? Do you think that this kind of attitude would always solidify the ego? No matter what you would do differently would lead to the same, would circle in the same circle. Bowing.
Yes, anything that we're doing will solidify a sense of self, as long as we believe that there's a sense of self and we're not maybe fully aware. When you said, this is what you said, I remember, or my intention was anyways, to say, I want to say something different when I'm talking about these subtle movements of the mind. What can I say differently to help us go deeper, help each other become more aware of these subtle movements and how we're habitually reacting to these subtle movements. And maybe it's just me that's doing it.
Bowing, I can certainly thank you, and I can certainly share the frustration of not being able to find a word which could express what I wanted to say. So I appreciate it. Bowing.
Erlam.
Does something like guilt need, like if we're someone who has a lot of guilt, is there an opposite of that that's showing up somewhere too? Like I know Sokuzan talks about pride and shame. What would the other side of guilt be?
I think,
On your head.
I know, I know he's up there and he's gonna come back and land on my nose, so what's the difference?
It's headed in that direction. It's going to.
He's headed for the hallway.
So I think what Sokuzan was saying earlier is true, that pride could be the other side of guilt. In that you're concerned about how you look and how you appear. That you could possibly be wrong. That's where I go with guilt. Not wanting to be wrong or wishing I would have done something differently than the way I actually did it. I don't know what else would be the opposite of it than pride. Do you? Do you have another emotion?
No, and I'm just, I guess, not gonna answer that question because I just have another question.
Okay.
Some traditions, I think, use guilt as like an encouraged trait, like, isn't that like a mark of piety, either Catholicism or Judaism, like guilt? What's happening in that kind of practice to use guilt as a like kind of piety?
Well, it's to help you be more, able to obey more. So when you were saying that, I just immediately remembered Dr. Spock. I don't know if anybody remembers that. No, not Dr. That Spock. Was it Dr. Spock?
The
That-
one with the baby book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I just went, oh, wait a minute. Did I get the wrong one? But that's what happened to many of us. I am a product of that, and that I was constantly guilted. You know, your parents made you feel guilty about what you were doing as a way to keep you in line, to have you obey. They would guilt you into everything. So that's where I go with that, and whether that I can see where that shows up, like in medieval Christianity with the self-flagellation. You know, I did this, so I need to beat myself on my back.
Bowing. What's your understanding of what Buddhist teachings offer to work with something like guilt? It seems like you're pointing out that it's circular, that it's an ego thing.
Yes, I would say it's the movement of what we do with it that we want to see, and it's just to name it it's part of the illusion, but to name it is to just give us a chance to see how we respond to it, see that habitual response that strengthens that separateness, that sense of self, that ego that wants to be right or wants to do things right, wants to always be seen as what's the word where you are, I want to say stellar or, pristine. You're always doing things right. Myoka, Toshi.
Bowing, what's the setup? We have all this guilt and we see these subtle movements. What sets that up?
A sense of ego, a sense of self, someone who wants to be right. Is there more than what you're getting at there?
Bowing. I feel like by the time I get to guilt, there's sometimes other things that I missed. Yes, I'm wondering for instance, if we're looking so hard for subtle movements and not finding, but we're just focused on that, is that setting us up for the guilt when we may be just looking for something that's not there?
I suppose anybody could take anything and make it a project. But that's not what's being offered here. It's an opportunity to, if it fits, if the shoe fits, if it does something in terms of encouraging you to strengthen your awareness in whatever place that you need to or want to. But it's not something for you to regret. But that's usually what happens with guilt, is that we've done something that we wish we wouldn't have done. So regret might show up first, and then maybe not correcting it might turn it into guilt. Not admitting it turns into guilt. I mean, there's just so many different ways that guilt can arise. What I'm endeavoring to point out, though, is what do we do when any of these emotions arise? Do we actually feel them? Or if we respond to them, to look at that response? But it's all about awareness, not about doing anything correct.
Bowing, how do we do that without the judgment that arises?
Look at the judgment. Whatever arises, look at it, observe it, receive it. Sokuzan.
Here.
You're bowing. I think it's one of Atisha's points is drive all blames into one. How do we do that, if we should do that at all, without guilt or shame? Can that live with your reifying idea of guilt and shame?
It certainly could. Any of those slogans can be actualized, used, considered, contemplated. What you do is whatever arises. What we're endeavoring to emphasize is the awareness. So, do you drive all blames into one? Only if that is what needs to arise for you. None of this is to be obeyed. Considered, maybe, if it fits. Driving all blames into one and you don't do it could result in a judgment against yourself and guilt. Am I getting to what you were looking at?
UWs, yeah, somewhat, yes. I'm wondering if that taking of responsibility could also be, you were pointing at everything is reifying, solidifying itself. Can that also
Mm-hmm.
be that?
Mm-hmm. Especially if done with out awareness. Mhm. Yeah, anything we do, especially when we have the I, me pronoun involved, we can solidify ourselves so easily. And we do all the time. And Sokuzan says it doesn't matter. No matter what you do, getting to the cushion can solidify your ego. It's about awareness. It is such a hard teaching to really take to heart. Sokuzan.
Why is that hard?
Because it just seems, I guess counterintuitive.
What do you mean by that? Counterintuitive.
All my Christian Catholic upbringing says to do it right. And there's no real emphasis on awareness. So everything that I've been schooled.
So what, if I may,
Mhm.
if everything's on awareness, then what, when we go and look for results, then is that leaving awareness, or is that just being aware of looking for results?
Both.
So if you're aware that you're looking for results, will that eventually come apart or stop or slow down or fade out?
If we continue to train our minds, if we continue to
Oh,
see it with awareness.
Guarantee that?
No, nothing's
Why not? You
guaranteed.
just said it.
Nothing's guaranteed.
Well, that doesn't sound like a very good deal.
It's not. The deal sucks. Jump now.
I'm not buying that.
Thank you, teacher.
No, you should say it. I didn't realize it was for sale.
I can't keep up with you.
There's nothing to keep up with. That's
That's-
the issue, that we're trying to keep up with something. There isn't anything. Do not have to succeed. It doesn't matter. Sorry to step into your arena.
Thank you for showing me that it's okay to
You
fail.
can do that. You will fail. You have to fail. You have to. Heartbreaking, that's the truth. But it's only heartbreaking as long as there's someone there that gives a damn.
Thank you. Miyoko Shoshi was next, but if you need,
Corrections, I'll see.
okay, Shoshi. Help me fail.
Is on curious about the idea of conditioning, mental conditioning the mind. Practice is sitting in Shikantaza, doing sitting meditation a form of conditioning?
Psychologically speaking, that could actually be a way to describe it. But it's not the case for everyone, and it is not the intent of the Buddhist teachings.
Could the same be said about how our parents treated us or our upbringing?
We are incredibly conditioned. I can't see you because of all my conditioning. My biology, my upbringing, the environment I was brought up in, the schooling that I received, the culture that I live in, the personality that's here, all that keeps me from seeing you, keeps me from seeing what it actually is. And that's just one layer. That is just one veil. The main veil is to see that this doesn't exist.
How is the conditioning that we do on a cushion different from conditioning that we've received elsewhere?
It might not be until it's not. Might be the same. Because that's all we know. Until it's not. Sokuzan.
So maybe what he's talking about, or what he's bringing up for me when you ask that question, is it possible to meditate in such a way that you recondition yourself to not think?
Yes,
Is that conditioning?
yes. But it's not the Buddhist teaching and not what you're teaching here. That's what happens sometimes in the therapy room.
What?
Reconditioning.
Recovery?
Reconditioning. You got one in. You got that?
Yeah. It's just like,
Everybody get that?
yeah, everybody get that I gave 1 star?
Oh,
I gave 1 star on YouTube to an absolutely fantastic book, and I'm not gonna tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Because I don't wanna look too presumptuous here.
Miyoka has a question.
You know, about what do we do to get a break? I'm like,
Show up on the cushion.
you know,
I would say-
when we're just so focused on, you know, what's subtle and am I seeing what I'm supposed to be seeing and da 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 da, is there any place in that to take a break?
Miyoka, are you saying that my Dharma talk are too much of a downer? What's different between my Dharma talks and your Dharma talks?
I really don't know.
Yours aren't so sleepy.
We are all, I don't know, it's like there's an elephant in the room and we're all poking at our little piece of it, but I think our intention, I just love it that we're supporting each other to really see what this is and to somehow survive.
What's the metaphorical elephant that you speak of? If you could summarize it in a few words.
To see what is actually showing up in front of us, to see that it's not separate from us, to see that that all this is an illusion, that it is mind only. And to actually see both. Sokuzan says he sees both, sees that this is an illusion, sees that it's not separate at the same time. So I amend my elephant, the piece I'm looking at. Anyways, you down.
You're divine. You seem pretty convinced that this is all an illusion, but you seem also convinced about the reification and solidification of the ego. So what is convincing you that it's all an illusion?
I don't know, glimpses and the teaching, the Dharma, and my teacher. And we're going to end.
Oh, we come in more here.
Chokudawa, go for it. Yes, Chokudawa.
Chokudawa, it seems like we are endeavoring to prioritize awareness as something, I don't know if it's worded that way, but it's my understanding from our teacher. And when you're talking about reconditioning, it does seem to have that effect a little bit. So I'm wondering how that looks to you. Like, are we reconditioning to, we're not getting rid of anything, but we're reprioritizing something. Is that reconditioning?
It could be spoken of that way, but I think that word is loaded because what Sokuzan and the teachings say is that nothing actually happens. So how can we be reconditioning? I don't get how it is that we continue to look at the illusion until we see that it's an illusion. We get to look at how separate and objective, subjective this world is until we see that it's not. How does that work?
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We will now dedicate the merit.